Well, hello there, great to see you. I'm Jenny Kirk, welcoming you up here to Weir Yard, and today we're taking a little break from all the creative construction, well, or should I say reconstruction, to have a good close look at the latest livery example of the Oxford Rail J26, better known in its Northeastern Railway line black guise as the P2 locomotive. Now, when Oxford Rail introduced their J27, they did say from the outset that the tooling suite had been designed to also produce the outwardly fairly similar J26. And although we didn't see the Northeastern Railway version of the J27, that was announced as being firmly on the cards for the J26. And it's those models which have finally arrived, following hot on the heels of the NER and BR versions. In fact, we took a good close look at the NER version earlier on this year, and one of the things that really did strike me was just what good value for money the model was when it came in at its slightly discounted retailer price of £110 and change, which in this day of the £200 and even £300 locomotives is more akin to what you would expect to pay for somebody else's second-hand model and not something that's brand new and showroom fresh. But that's exactly what Oxford Rail have managed to bring us, and it just goes to show that this marque is definitely one which holds key, giving amazing value for money. They very kindly sent over an example of the Northeastern Railway J26, or as it was known then, the P2, and we're going to be taking a good close look at this and seeing what differences there are between it and the later variants. Often the pre-grouping liveried versions of locomotives are a difficult proposition because during the grouping period a lot of locomotives got rebuilt, and the J26 was lucky in that respect that there weren't too many differences, but there were a few nonetheless. And it's interesting to note that Oxford Rail have got a few differences in the slides of the tooling suite up their sleeve, which does allow them to produce the J26 in its original guise. Now, as we go through this video, we do have an affiliate link in the description box that takes you to TMC, the Model Centre, and it's a great way of picking up one of these models if you really like what you see. There's also the NER and BR versions in both late and early crest too, and you can get them with and without sound fitted options. And actually, we did look at the sound fitted version when we reviewed that NER version of this model. As we go through, don't forget to hit that like button. It's a free and helpful way of showing your support for the channel and feeding the algorithm, and consider sharing to social media. And as always, if you haven't already done so, do consider subscribing. It's a really good way of making sure that you're kept up to date with new videos as they come through. But let's get on and take a look, and a huge thank you to Oxford Rail for sending over this example so we get the opportunity to have a good close look. So come with me and let's check out the Northeastern Railway P2. Today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabriek.co.uk. We're proud to be supported by TMC, the Model Centre, your first choice for new and used. Pre-order all forthcoming models with confidence, or check out the extensive listings of second-hand. Each model is checked by experts in the field to make sure you're getting the very best. With new models uploaded daily, there's always something new to find. You can also specify from their value weathering and renumbering service right through to bespoke graffiti to get exactly the model that you want, Get something special today by browsing at themodelcentre.com. We recently reviewed the Oxford Rail J26 in its NER livery when that came out, and this is a distinctly different locomotive from the J27 that Oxford Rail put out a few years ago now. Now, they do share the same tooling suite of sorts, and the tooling suite was designed from the outset to be able to do both the J26 and J27. And we said in that J26 review that this is a really great development in the hobby that allows for far more classes of locomotives to be represented in model form than historically would have happened. So I'm really pleased to see the J26 finally turn up. Now, we did do a full review on that J26, and if you want the really in-depth version, then you can go to that and take a look. But recently, the final livery option has come through from Oxford Rail of the J26, and this is the North Eastern Railway P2, which was the North Eastern Railway's designation for the J26 as number 1678 in that lined black livery. And Oxford Rail have very kindly sent one over for us to take a good close look at. Its catalogue number is OR76J26004. This is a 21-pin DCC ready model, and we will be showing you the DCC fitting from the previous version a little bit later on in this video. This particular example arrived DCC ready, and I have taken the time to fit this with a standard 21-pin decoder. There's loads of room in the tender. It's not an issue. It definitely will accommodate even things like the HM7000. I know we say this every time, but I get asked time and time again, and yes, 21-pin HM7000 is actually marginally smaller than the ESU Locksound V5. Now, first impressions are that this really is quite a standout livery. It's billed as being lined black, but there's a little bit more going on with this. You can see here that this is the kind of black that we're used to on the J27 model, and this is much more of a satin finish. And I'm not normally a huge fan of gloss finishes on locomotives, but the North Eastern Railway lined black really does work exceptionally well. It also emphasises the fact that we've got this matte finish on the smoke box door, and the funnel, which is totally in keeping with the prototype. And I really do like that they've taken this extra mile to do this properly. Now, looking at this, and I'm going to bring in the J26 in the NER livery, I'm just looking through for some of the detail differences that have been tooled up between the later and earlier versions of this model. One of the big things is the tender with these staves just up on the top. The actual tender body itself is exactly the same, although the lining really does bring out the detail just down here on the chassis of the tender. And what astounds me is that Oxford Rail haven't applied any kind of an uplift for this pre-grouping livery rendition, whereas some manufacturers, not all, but some, have been known to add a premium for shipping with all this extra level of detail. Now, these staves at the top on the LNER and I believe the BR versions, these have a much more almost Art Deco style to them, and I did marvel about how these had the air gaps through them, really nicely done. Looking to the Northeastern Railway version, it's the same base tender, but these different staves really do look quite different and are fully in keeping with period photographs of the locomotive. Looking back across here, we've got the safety valve bonnet. This appears to be exactly the same design as on the LNER version, but here we've got this metallic finish on it. It appears to be painted, but actually I quite like that. It's not too shiny, and I think sometimes excessively shiny doesn't really work in model form, even if it is true to the full-size prototype. On the cab roof though, we do have the different banding across the top there. You can see the cab roof itself has a different position of this hatch, and then we've got the ribs that go from side to side, as opposed to the much sleeker looking roof of the later models with these rain strips at the side. Again, another subtle difference which shows that this has been tooled up as a true pre-grouping model. We've still got that representation of the motion in between the frames. It doesn't actually work, but the fact that you can see it looks a lot better than just having a void, which is something in the past we might have had. Although it must be said that the J27 also shares this inside motion, and picking out in red really does look good. The lining is crisp and sharp. We've got these twin, very quite slender red bands on all of the boiler bands, and these are parallel and true and actually follow the boiler band perfectly without any straying from that. We've got a brass ring just between the demarcation between the smoke box and the boiler here, and that really does look good. The colour matches the safety valve bonnet. Now I'm just looking to the dome, and that looks to be again exactly the same as on the NER version. The rest of the things like the boiler washouts, the front face of the cab with those circular spectacle plates are definitely exactly the same, but this livery application, the red lining, really does look pretty nice. Moving to the front, the funnel itself, that actually doesn't have the wind deflector, which the NER version does. Again, another subtle difference, but it is there in the tooling. And it does show that there really is a lot of differences that exist in this tooling suite, and I really am looking forward to the next model that Oxford Rail release, because this has been done exceptionally well. Looking to the front, we've got the sprung buffers. I'm just going to take a look. Sometimes in later life locomotives had buffers changed, but actually that does look exactly the same, and we've got the differences on there. The actual running number is picked out in exactly the same style, and then we've got the class P2, very small lettering but crisp and sharp, is picked out underneath, which is different from the class J26 on its NER counterpart. The rest of the front here is exactly the same. You can see between the two, but we do have that lining continuing on those front splashes, and that is subtle but really nicely done. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com, and don't miss out on your latest Loco.
The pickup on this model is, just as before, from all 6 wheels on the locomotive, and we've also got 4-wheel pickup on the tender. So we've got the centre axle and the front axle, although I will say that the wipers there, certainly on this centre wheel, are not actually making full contact. Looking to the wheel in front, again, these need adjusting, just something to watch out for. We've got the tender draw, which can be made to just pull these two together. And what I would say I found when running this is that the full plate between the locomotive and tender, really nicely done. It's a metal item, but it can get jammed between the two and cause derailment. And I would actually have a personal preference of moving these slightly closer together just to go some way to stop that from happening. The cab interior is again picked out, really nicely finished, with all of that separate detail picked out, with some of the pieces there are separately applied parts, others are printed really quite crisp and sharply. The different versions are pretty much the same in there. I do love the wooden planking just up inside the roof. It's a nice touch and something that I've seen on locomotives at the Railway Museum, and it does look good. The connecting rods, these are sufficiently slender. It's really great to see. Picked out in red, they do look smart. And then we've got the red lining just around on the wheels, the correct pattern of spokes, and the brake rigging is factory fitted underneath. Now, you don't need to remove the brake rigging at all to get into these. You can do DCC fitting and such like without any issues whatsoever. Getting inside these is just simply a case of the two screws at the front of the tender. It lifts off, revealing a factory fitted speaker and a 21-pin socket. There's also plenty of space inside here. If you really want to go down the route of a stay alive, then there is space to fit that, but I don't personally find that it really needs it, and certainly once I've adjusted those wiper pickups, I think this is going to run just fine. Windows too, we've got flush fitted, really great finish on that. Looking to the tender, lining straight and true, and then the NER in that multicolour pass. So we've got a kind of gold colour, red, white, and a little bit of black for the drop shadowing, and that really does look superb. On the cab sides, the number 1678, the works plate, is crisply printed, but I'm just going to put that there because one of the things that we do get is some extra parts as standard, and those include etched number plates and works plates in there. So these can be carefully removed from the fret. They really are crisp and nicely done. And then with something like PVA, do not use super glue. You'll ruin the finish on the locomotive. A little tiny bit of PVA. Use the printed versions as the exact positioning template to then put these in place. Then we've also got a set of etched fire irons and such like, which are really nicely done, quite robust as well. And those are great for putting on top of a coal load. There's an additional tender drawbar too. I suspect that might be a shorter one. Actually, it does look exactly the same as the one that's on there. And then we've got the 3-link style couplings, and these can be added to the factory fitted metal coupling hooks, and these are actually good enough to be totally functional. It really is something that if you're going down the 3-link route, you don't have to buy anything extra at all. In terms of DCC fitting, it really is super easy. We're just going to recap from the NER version video that we did earlier this year. I'm going to pick up the locomotive. It is factory connected, tender and locomotive, and with the drawbar connected front and back, it does protect all of these wires, which I think is really good. I don't like models where it's easy to accidentally pull your train by the wires and risk breaking them. To get the tender lid off, we've got 2 screws just here at the front. So with a crosshead style jeweler's screwdriver, I'm just going to quickly undo both of those. And then the tender, lift up from the front, unhook from the back. There's just these 2 little hooks which just hook in at the back of the tender setup. Now this has got the factory fitted sound, and I'm just going to lever this out of the way. We do recommend the Train-O-Matic 21-pin decoders. They're available from the link down below from Tramfabriek, the UK stockists. But the locomotives also include factory-fitted speakers, and as far as I understand it, these are included in all versions of the model, whether they come factory sound fitted or not. And you can see there, it's got a sugar cube style speaker, and when you come to DCC Fit, line up the pins, and then just gently push that into place. The decoder itself sits neatly over the top of the speaker. There's a nice positive click when we put the tender body back on, And then just simply a case of getting these 2 screws and just gently tighten these up. When it comes to running, the locomotive performs really quite well on the track. Now, as I said before, I did get just a little bit of issues with the tender fall plate. It seems that with the tender drawbar at the maximum extension, it's just right for that fall plate to run the risk of just getting stuck between the loco and tender, and that can just force the tender to jump off the track. However, with adjustment, that problem goes away, and really it's not a huge problem at all. You can just adjust that, and unless you're running these things on radius 1 curves, then I wouldn't say it's going to be a massive issue. If you are running it down to very, very slender curves, I would suggest perhaps either removing the tender fall plate to be on the safe side, or putting it in the upright position just to stop that from jamming. But it is a little bit of a minor consideration. Here on Weir Yard, it performed really, really well. It looks the part and certainly is a great addition to any pre-grouping collection. It took in all of the point work, the double slips, the crossovers, everything in terms of the dodgily laid track. It just took in its stride. Now, I wasn't able to run it on the torture test track. This is currently undergoing rebuilding, but certainly the small areas I was able to run it backwards and forwards on, it did seem to perform quite well, and was certainly on a par with what you would expect with other 060 tender locomotives from various manufacturers. At the price that it's available at, we've got it through the affiliate link at around the £110 and change mark. This is incredible value for money. As we said before, all versions of this J26 offer an amazing value for money deal, and they're unlikely to hang around at this price point for long. So if it is a must-have item, you probably need to get your skates on. When it comes to scores, we're going to put this in at the same scoring that the NER version had. It really is a great model, and it's nice to see those slight tooling variants that allow an accurate version of its earlier P2 guys. Definitely, this is a great model, and a huge thank you to Oxford Rail for giving us the opportunity to take a good close look at this pre-grouping livery, and I really do look forward to hoping that perhaps the J27 gets the same pre-grouping treatment. So there you go, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments section down below. What do you think about this model? Is it something that you got on order? Maybe you've already received your North Eastern Railway P2, or did you get one of the earlier versions such as NER or BR, in which case which one? And just what do you think about it? Have you had any problems, or indeed has your experience been without fault? Do let me know too about the price. What do you think about this? And what does it show that Oxford Rail are able to get these models out for a really, really good inflation busting price? Leave a comment down below. It's always great to hear from you. And until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying don't forget to check out the affiliate link if you want one of these for yourself. But do hurry, because at this price, they're really not going to hang around for long. Don't forget to check out the affiliate link, and as always, please like, share and subscribe, and check out our full merch store down below. Until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling. Bye for now. Today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCC decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabriek.co.uk. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model 00 gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest Loco.
We're proud to be supported by TMC, the Model Centre, your first choice for new and used. Pre-order all forthcoming models with confidence, or check out the extensive listings of second-hand. Each model is checked by experts in the field to make sure you're getting the very best. With new models uploaded daily, there's always something new to find. You can also specify from their value weathering and renumbering service right through to bespoke graffiti to get exactly the model that you want. Get something special today by browsing at themodelcentre.com. I'd like to thank everybody over on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to our Patreon heroes. Without you guys over on Patreon, we really wouldn't be able to keep making the video content that you see on this channel. And don't forget that you can also head on over to patreon.com/JenniferKirk and check out the different tiers of rewards. Thank you so much. You are absolute legends.